So the way I drive home from work, it's like I don't go directly down like the main road right away. I like to because it's kind of boring just driving down directly the straight, road. So I go down the side road first before I go there. And like there's farmland and there's all this backcountry Massachusetts road. And so I'm driving and I'm driving by this house I drive by every day when I come home from work. And there's this big yellow sign. Like it's like I guess it's like a politician sign, but a little bit bigger, but the same thing, like metal legs, but a big yellow sign, bright red letters, just in all capitals. Motorcycles are everywhere with either two or three exclamation points. Now, I understand. I think I understand what this sign is trying to get at. What I think they're trying to get at is how, it's starting to get warm weather and you should look out for motorcycles and, motorcycle safety and all that, because everybody that's driving on the road is distracted by everything. So I get that. But this is clearly not part of the official campaign. This is just a sign they made. And it's so funny that it's in all capitals and it has multiple exclamation points. It's just like motorcycles are everywhere. So I understand where it's coming from, but it's also I picture these people living in their basement, hiding from motorcycles. They, in their mind, motorcycles attack. It's like if the apocalypse was happening, the zombie apocalypse was happening. Someone, I would put out my front lawn, zombies are everywhere. Everybody watch out.
Or they're having this beautiful breakfast and then they hear the revving of the engine. Get downstairs.
It comes in through the window. It comes in through the window to the front door. So that's what I picture. And now every time I drive by, I'll have to snap a picture.
Yes, please. Because I've seen the bumper stickers. It's like, hey, be mindful of motorcyclists. It doesn't say motorcycles are everywhere.
It's such a funny thing because the people are probably just very genuine about it, but the message doesn't get across when you put just motorcycles are everywhere. It's in a bad spot. I'm gonna try and take a picture of it though. It's very apparent to the road. When you're driving on the road, you can't miss it. It's right there, but it's on a hill. It's so good. It's so good. Motorcycles are everywhere. So this is the Average Nobody's podcast number 72 for March 27th, 2019. Is it March 27th? It is. That's weird. 72 or 27. Ooh. It's what is that? An anagram?
That is an anagram.
Right now. Is that what hey, look at us. Anagrams. Something weird about that. You can find us. What? I
was going to say, I bet people didn't think they were going to get an English lesson today, but
you never know what you're going to get in the Average Nobody's podcast. You can find us on our blog, averagenobodies.com. You can find us on Twitter at Average Nobodies, and of course our YouTube, youtube.com/The Average Nobodies. We have hundreds of videos there. Me and Ryan, this is not our first forte in content creation. Ryan and I, we made some videos back in the day that are pretty funny. That you should check out on our YouTube. So if you're a friend listening and you know us and you don't know that we made these videos, go check them out. If you're a fan of the podcast, go check out these videos if you haven't seen them. If you've been there from the beginning, go back and throw a comment and tell us that you're watching.
Yeah, give a little thumbs up. We put a lot of we've been creating content since kind of when we first met.
Yeah, it goes way back.
College, so we didn't even go to the same college, but the universe aligned.
Yes, it absolutely.
But yeah, a lot of good videos on that YouTube page. A lot of stuff I'm proud of, and a lot of stuff we had a lot of fun doing. So if you go and check it out, give it a little thumbs up, a comment. No hateful comments, please. We read them.
Yeah, I've noticed that the stupid saying videos get a lot of comments. Even now, we haven't posted we should actually post a new stupid sayings video. I think we could come up with a few, but they get a lot of comments even now, and they're 50-50, good comments, thinking, hey, this is funny, guys, nice work, and then also you guys, this is fucking stupid. I think that was one of them. I was oh, well, not for everybody, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna please everyone.
Yeah, and we this past week we got a new subscriber on YouTube. Oh shit, what was his name? I'll have to look back, but shout out to you. He actually came to us because I put up a video when we first started doing the podcast, when we revamped it. And when we were doing like the Oscars, and it was like the remember, like it was La La Land and Moonlight, and we were podcast. So when we first started doing that section of the podcast, I did a video on how I record it and how I've been doing it with like the soundboard and everything. And a lot of people are drawn to that video because a lot of people have the same questions. And I helped someone out with like what cable they should buy for their audio setup. And he was like, "Oh, I like your stuff. I'm going to subscribe to you and I'll listen to the podcast." So if you're listening, shout out to you. I'm actually going to look him up right now. I'm going to look up what his name is so I can give him a proper shout out. Let's see. But yeah, so you can go on our YouTubes and find us there.
That's where we live. That's where our creativity lies. It's kind of nice having that as like a, it's like its own library, its own like on-demand section, because I sometimes like to go back and watch. I think a lot of them are funny. Drinking with Class, those Stupid Sayings. Twitter News Weekly was pretty fun.
Yeah, Twitter News Weekly was a lot of fun, and honestly, it was. I think that was a lot of his name is Glib Talk, and that's his YouTube name, Glib Talk. So Glib Talk, if you're listening to this,
it's his real name.
To you. Yeah. Glib Talk. Shout out to you. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I think that our Twitter News Weekly was one of our like most structured, like I guess Drinking with Class maybe more, because we really like wrote out a script for Drinking with Class. I mean, a lot of episodes, they were very like, you did a lot of improv, but we did have like a structure to it. But Twitter News Weekly, like we would each find those tweets and then we would come up with jokes for the tweets. Like it's not something we would just come off the top of our head most of the time when we were doing it.
Right. So and then we like had it flow perfectly with Twitter where we'd tag the people and just be like, "Hey, we used your tweet in our video," and they would retweet it or, comment. So now I thought it was a cool combo between trying to get more Twitter followers, get the word out there about Twitter, but then you're actually just, which in some cases it could be like, who are these men? Like, why are you using my tweet? But maybe that's just our sense of humor. I don't know. I thought it was. I thought it went well.
Did that ever go bad? Like, did someone ever like be like, I forget. Like, did we ever get someone that was like, "Don't use my tweet" or something?
No, right? Nobody was ever mad. There was a lot of confused people because we just, we didn't tell them after the fact. We just like used it in the video, and then we're like, "Hey, watch this video," and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
there was also, from what I remember, there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh my god," and they were like tagging their friends and being like, "I'm famous," and then I think they realized how many people who are actually watching these videos, and they're like, "Oh, why is this happening to me?
Who are you people?" It's like, hey, maybe you'll be famous one day. You never know. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, Matt, besides the motorcycles are everywhere, what's going on? What have you been up to? It's only been a week.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know this is nice. I tell you what I'm up to. It's 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks until the showcase of the Immortals, WrestleMania. Are you excited?
I can't, like, I've been wanting to text a group text every day, but I'm like, we still have time. Like, everything I want to ask, I could just ask like at once. So I'm like, we'll just wait. Yeah. But I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I've been like kind of like getting myself together. It's going to be kind of a chaotic time for me. We're driving down to WrestleMania, and then you guys are driving back, and I'm flying out of New York to Toronto for the show that I'm doing. So I have to pack like for 2 different trips. And the 2 different trips are very different clothes. I'll just say that, like very different clothes. Like I got my WCW Nitro jacket packed and my purple camo pants packed for WrestleMania. And I have my, my dress shirts and things packed for work. But yeah, hopefully the bags don't get switched up.
Well, I mean, it won't be as strange if they get switched up for WrestleMania as they will be for work. Let's put it that way. WrestleMania, you might fit in. There's going to be a lot of strange people there, but work. Matt, what is this? What is this? Why are there flames on your jacket?
This is all I have to wear. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
This is it. This is all I have.
This is it. Oh, times are hard.
So other than that, nothing much, man. Just Lindy and I are going to get our kitchen redone over the summer. Oh, we just decided.
Excellent.
So we just approved like the plans, and so in June, like towards the end of June, we'll be having some workers come in here and get that job done. Hopefully it goes smooth.
I hope so. Yeah, we did ours 4 years ago or 3 years ago. And it changes everything, especially if you, and the thing with that is it kind of forces you to use the kitchen more. Like you won't want to eat out as much, ideally, because you have the space that now you need to cook. Because I feel like all the houses that are from your house is a little older than mine, but like houses from back in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, like they're like, oh, we're just going to cook on this little piece of counter. That's all we need. It's like, well,
yeah,
there's nothing.
I don't get it.
Like, do they cook in the sink? I don't understand.
And that was before like delivery was very readily available. Like they weren't like every meal was cooked in those kitchens. So I don't get it.
It's wild.
My kitchen is very unusable. Like the countertops are like for hobbits. I guess people were just smaller back like 30, 40 years ago. They're like tiny counters. So we're going to have actual like right height counters, which are nice and all that. But we actually have been talking about cooking more. We've been doing Blue Apron. And I can definitely say that that's two thumbs way up. And we try to like when we do 3 meals a week. So the other 2 nights and it's like for weekends, we either like we'll get something out or we will cook like whatever else we have, like whatever else we get from the supermarket. But Blue Apron has been good. I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be like all out of like very, very healthy meals and not, you know what I mean? Like I'm not against a healthy meal, but I would rather not eat kale salads every night. You know what I mean? Like that's not a thing, but it's good. I mean, we had some dynamite meals last week and a couple good ones this week too.
Excellent. Well, it's good to hear.
Yeah. What are you up to, Ryan?
Well, it's March Madness. I'm not a huge, I played basketball when I like growing up, played in high school, played in middle school and stuff. But as I got older, I've just I like watching baseball more. Like I'm a baseball fan than more of I am a basketball fan, and that goes for college basketball too. But with March Madness, I couldn't resist the urge to place some bets. And anybody who knows me knows there's this thing that hovers over me called the Ryan Stink. And it's active in my bets as well. So, and it doesn't help that I don't do any research either. I should probably look into it a little more. But so I think it was on Thursday or Friday, I was looking at the bets, so I ended up picking a game. The over-under was 133 points. So I'm like, all right, 133 points, that's like 74 to 73, 73 to 72, something like that. That's not that crazy for college basketball. I mean, these are supposed to be the best teams in the country. So I picked the over, and the total was, I think, 105. So I lost the over-under by almost 30 points.
Tough. That's tough.
It was one of those games where like I watched it because I had money on it and I was invested. And from 2 minutes in, I said, "There's no way." They were missing shots after shot. The best 3-point shooter in the country went 0 for 14 from 3. How does that happen?
You know the Ryan Stink is. That's when you know the Ryan Stink is in full effect.
The whole pregame, they're like, "Oh, this guy, he broke records for percentage-wise for 3-point shots this year." I'm like, "All right, we're in good shape." Missed every single one. Every single one. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But I guess that's
you can't account for the Ryan Stink.
No, you can't. I mean, there's no way. There's no point value you can put to that. So I got $25 left. I bet on Bovada for any of you who are interested. It's a great website, very secure, very easy. And with these type of picks, you can parlay, which means you can, combine them, but they both have to happen. So you can, bet a minimal amount. Say you want to bet $25 that a team's going to win, and you're going to bet the over under. Now you have a chance to bet $25 to win like $100 or $200. So it's kind of nice, and I don't bet a lot. I mean, I put $50 in, but it makes it interesting. And I lose all the time. I mean, it's pretty guaranteed that I'm going to lose. So
I didn't even do a bracket this year.
I didn't either.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah, I just wasn't into it. Unless someone emails me or texts me that like, hey, $10 for a bracket. I don't know. I'm not going to go out of my way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. That's it. And then just as you are getting ready for Wrestlemania, cannot wait, which I do want to talk about a little later in the podcast about some of the happenings that that happened this week. But yeah.
Cool. Well, let's start with Apple's new announcements. So on Monday, this past Monday, Apple had a keynote address, which usually around this time of year, their normal keynote address it's not really hardware. So it's not like new iPhones. It's not new tablets. It's not any of that. It's usually just software. This is the time of year where they announced Apple Music back in the day. This is the time of year where they announced Apple News. Well, there was three main things that is coming to iOS devices. That's News Plus, Arcade, and Apple TV Plus. So News Plus is the same news app. It's just a news aggregator. You go into the app. It has the New York Times. You're interested in technology. It has a bunch of technology articles. It just like puts it all in a list, kind of like what you would go to Twitter for. It just has all your news there, all stuff that you like. What they are adding to it with News Plus is it's a subscription service, $10 a month. You also get like this huge catalog of magazines. So instead of, you could go to a newsstand and buy 3 magazines, that's $10 right there. This gives you unlimited magazines, going from anywhere from like Vogue to like Popular Mechanics. Like you have everything in between, all like made for your phone. So you can flip through the pages. Ads are like, dynamic, and you can watch videos right on the page, that kind of stuff. Very cool. So that's News Plus, $9.99 a month, and you get all that stuff. And that's coming like later this spring. Apple Arcade, same type of deal. It's coming in the fall, but except with mobile games. So you pay a certain amount, and they haven't said what it's going to be yet, and you get an unlimited access to a certain amount of games on your iPhone, which they're kind of like trying to compete with indie games on console and PC. So they're making them like they're better games, they're bigger games, they're exclusive to iPhone, so you can't get them anywhere else. Those are all coming that's coming this fall. And then the big thing, this is like something for me and you to talk about, Apple TV Plus. So an Apple TV, the device, the hardware, is a box that plugs to your TV. And on an Apple TV, they have an app called Apple TV. It's very redundant. The Apple TV app, it aggregates all the stuff you're watching. So if you're watching, if you watch Hulu and you watch Amazon Prime and you watch Netflix and you have some movies that you bought or rented on Apple iTunes, they're all there. So you can continue where you left off. It collects it all in one area. But what they announced is they announced Apple TV Plus, which is their streaming service. So it competes with like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, the whole deal like that. This is what's coming to them. And what they did that was cool was they brought a bunch of the content creators and directors and actors and actresses that are going to be part of their like their new shows. And did you see the list? Did you happen to see the list of people?
Yes, I did. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean the way they did it was so cool. Like they brought out who is the head of their Apple TV team is these two guys. The head of their Apple TV Plus. They came out there. They're kind of like, they would be like the CEOs of Netflix. Like they're out there and they're directing all the content, these two guys. Then the stage goes black. And it comes back and it's Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. And the place goes nuts, obviously. And so they announced their new show called The Morning Show. And it's essentially a show kind of like The Newsroom. And we're not sure if it's more comedy or drama. It looked more drama by the trailer. And you think it's just them two, and then Steve Carell comes out, and Steve Carell is also part, which is just like, come on, like you bring out Steve Carell on your first one, you have me. Like just close down the whole thing now. I'll subscribe immediately. All I need is Steve Carell and a new TV show.
Yeah, Steve Carell really seals the deal.
Yeah, he essentially looks like he's playing the part of Jeff Daniels in Newsroom. So.
Okay.
He's like one of the head guys on air. Very, very, very cool. Very excited. They also had a show with Kumail Nanjiani. He is doing a show about immigrants, but not immigrants that went on to be like famous people like Albert Einstein and like all like immigrants that come in and like do really like amazing things. He's doing like a true like about the common like person who immigrates to America and is just like living their life and trying to get by. So like just like the average person. I think that's fascinating. I think that's a story that is not well told. Everybody focuses on like, oh, like, like you don't want to let immigrants in the country, but look, this person was this thing and he was an immigrant and Elon Musk is an immigrant. And you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But this is just very like, this is just normal people trying to, what it's like for them to move to America and start a life in America, like either for their kids or for themselves and like just live and work. So I think that's very interesting. I'm very interested in that show. And then they brought out not Viola Davis. I always get them confused. Do you know who was out there with Jason Momoa? Damn.
Octavia Spencer?
Look this up. No. Jason Momoa, Apple TV Plus. It was oh my God, I always get them confused. Alfre Woodward? Do you know who that is?
No.
Is that a fake person I'm making up?
It is.
Look her up right now. If you can look her up on your computer. Am I saying that name right? What is wrong with me?
Are they on the show together?
Yeah, so they're on the show together. So anyway, I'll keep.
Oh yeah, Alfre. I guess Alfre Woodard.
You recognize her though, right? She was on. She was one of the villains in Luke Cage on Netflix. So she's on this show with Jason Momoa, and it's about the society in the future where like the human race, something happens to the human race, and everybody, like a lot of people die, and there's only this small section of people left to repopulate the world, and they're left blind. And the rest of the people are all like, when they have kids, they're blind, and everybody's blind. That's a terrible way to describe it, but that's just blind. What it is. Everybody's blind. God. That's just like that's gonna be on the posters. It's gonna be Jason Momoa, and then below it's just a big text. Everybody's blind. So Jason Momoa and Alfre Woodard, they are in this together. They are the stars in it, and that's pretty cool. I mean, they brought out J.J. Abrams. They brought out who they bring out? They brought out J.J. Abrams. They brought out Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is doing a collection of shows that honestly kind of weirdly reminds me of the Twilight Zone. The way he described it, he did everything but say Twilight Zone. They're like individual episodes, kind of like a Twilight Zone, like a Black Mirror, like that. That's just what they are. Like so, but he didn't say Twilight Zone, but they are. Like it is. Like and on Monday we're getting Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone, so it's a great time for Twilight Zone type shows. So yeah, Apple TV Plus. It's gonna be pretty cool. They haven't put out a price yet.
When is it? Did they say when it's launching?
In the fall as well. They're going to have, the shows will start airing in the fall. So they have a pretty dynamite lineup to start. I'm curious to see where the fatigue starts on these type of streaming services, because you have Netflix. It's going to be tough to back away from Netflix. There's so many shows already built in that I like and that a lot of people like. They do a lot of good original movies, and people are just used to Netflix. They're used to going to Netflix for a lot of their content. That's like what a lot of people like only know. They know that there's Netflix and they know how to access Netflix. Anything else, they're not going to go to because it's too outside their realm. Then you have Hulu. Hulu came in, and Hulu, I love Hulu. I probably watch Hulu just as much as I watch Netflix now, right? But then you go down the line, you got Amazon Prime. Disney is coming out with their own streaming service. CBS has their own streaming service. And as the market starts to segment, where does the fatigue set in? And like, how many times can you pay for a subscription service before you're like, okay, no, like I pay for 3. That's what I'm going to do. I have YouTube TV and I'm going to pay for 3, or I have cable and I'm going to pay for 2, or whatever it ends up being. Like, everybody can't just subscribe to everything, or the whole thing that we wanted to avoid, paying high cable bills, is just going to come back in a different form. It's just going to be a different thing. but it's the same thing. We're still dishing out the same amount of money or more, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't like, even if the shows or movies or whatever that Apple TV does, like, I can't see myself. Right now, I have Netflix, I have Hulu, and I have Amazon Prime. Like, I'm not, what am I going to do with another one? And I have HBO Now.
Right. Yeah. And HBO too. Like, cause HBO Now is not necessarily associated with a cable service. That can be its own a la carte thing, which is how we do it. I do the same thing.
Because I have YouTube TV.
So it's like, how many can you, I can't get rid of Hulu because I'm already locked into a lot of their shows and I like a lot of their backlog content. Netflix, I probably won't get rid of because I think Netflix did it first, did it best. And there's something to be said about that. And like they are always innovating. So I gotta stick with Netflix also because Black Mirror is there. So it's going to be tough. Like, I want to subscribe to this, but how many more shows can I watch? And to be realistic, like, they showed a lot of cool stuff, but I'm probably only going to watch the morning show because of Steve Carell. Right. Like that's really it. And I'm sure there'll be a way for me to watch it. I'm not really, I'm not going to, go into that, but like whether or not I give like my Netflix password to one of my friends who has Apple TV Plus and I watch it that way, I just can't see myself subscribing to it myself. It's just, I don't know. I'm already going to be on Monday. I'm going to have to sign up for CBS All Access because how else am I going to watch the Twilight Zone episodes, the ones that Jordan Peele is doing? Like, there's no other way for you to watch it. Like, I'm screwed. I have to. They have me. Hook, line, and sinker for that.
I know. That looks awesome. So,
yeah. I just can't miss something Jordan Peele's doing right now. He's so hot and like he's doing amazing work. And I almost feel like Jordan Peele has like had all these ideas built up. And then finally someone gave him a chance with Get Out. And now it's just pouring out of him like 100 miles an hour. And you have to embrace it while it's happening. So I got to watch it. I don't know. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah. I mean, I'm very similar to you. Like, there's no way I can't see myself getting Apple Plus. Cause I mean, right now, like I said, we have Hulu and we have Prime and Netflix and YouTube TV, but like we use our friend's Hulu. And then we have HBO Now. So I mean, like, even if I really want to see the Steve Carell one, I don't know. I can't see myself getting like the Apple Plus. Just as much as I want to see that show, there's just like there's too many streaming services. Because like you said, now you're just going back to you're spending an exorbitant amount of money on all these different things. Like maybe you're not paying a cable company one set cost, but combined, paying a lot of money. So, yeah, I don't know. Absolutely. I don't think I'd be able to do it. As interesting as some of those shows sound, I just don't think I'd be able to do it.
I'm curious to see how they handle a la carte shows or a la carte buying. Like how I normally go on iTunes and I can rent a movie or buy a TV show. I wonder if they'll give you options to rent those movies, buy those TV shows, or even rent. Like I would consider paying, a few bucks an episode to watch one of those shows. Like I would consider doing that and not get a subscription service. Just watch exactly what I want to watch when I want to watch it. I don't know if I'd buy it. Like I wouldn't buy a season of it, but maybe I would rent it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they have to. It would be strange to like you can only be a subscriber.
Right. But you know what? That's what the big thing is now. Like right now, there's a weird thing happening with digital content that everybody is like putting up their fences and making you enter through a gate that you have to put in some change because it's happening in video games too. On the computer forever, the main client that you use to get video games on a PC was this product called Steam, made by Valve, this company Valve that used to be a game publisher, but now they pretty much just run Steam. And you go on Steam and you buy video games and download them to your computer. It's really the only way you can do it. But now all these other companies are popping up and they're grabbing up games and making them exclusive to their service. And you can't get the games anywhere else. And they're putting up a wall. That's it. This is the only way you can get it. You have to subscribe. You have to buy them through our interface. And it's not the same as putting up a wall in a subscription, but there are a lot of people like the media now is getting divided up. Like everybody, Disney is taking back all their stuff off of Netflix because they're starting their own, and they're putting up a wall on all their stuff. You got to subscribe to watch it. It's the only way you can watch it. So this is the future we wanted.
Yeah, I mean, we brought this on ourselves.
This is a classic, like, be careful what you wish for scenario. Like, I wouldn't take back Netflix for anything in the world. I mean, not anything in the world, but you know what I mean. I'm, hyperbole. But like, Netflix is amazing, so I wouldn't take that back. But it's gonna get dodgy, where like content is not gonna be like, it's not gonna be as free flowing as when Netflix was first like the only dog on the hill. If that's not a saying, it's a saying now.
It's gonna be
the dog on the hill.
This dog on the hill. But yeah, I mean, because the only thing, the only thing with Netflix is, like you said, like now it kind of stinks because a lot of the shows that I like to watch just to binge were being taken away, but now they're added to other streaming services. So like with Hulu, like we can watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine and we can watch How I Met Your Mother and those type of things, which we like to fall asleep to. Or like a Seinfeld. Like, I mean, luckily Netflix still has Friends, which like I could watch on loop forever. But I mean, that's another aspect of it. Like, it's not really just the new content. It's that library of old shows that sometimes you're just in the mood to watch a funny show, that you've already seen a million times. But so I think that's going to be a key part of it too. I mean, if Apple does like, add to their library when, if Netflix lets go of a show, or Hulu or Amazon Prime, maybe they can scoop up one of those old comedies and people will subscribe for that. If you have things like that in your library, I mean, it's a good added feature to have. Pumping out new content, Netflix makes it seem easy, but that's because they have hundreds of billions of dollars, which I guess Apple does too, but still.
Yeah, Apple's got a little bit of money. Little bit of money saved aside under the old oak tree.
It's ridiculous. That is, you're on fire with the sayings tonight.
Start writing them down now.
Start selling shirts and pillows.
All right. So I assume you're like, when we talk about WrestleMania, it's going to go a little lengthy. You want to do the Cardi B section first too, and then we'll finish with Mania?
I don't want to go through the whole card. I just wanted to talk about really the main event.
Yeah, let's do it then. Let's go right into WrestleMania.
So WrestleMania, for those of you that don't know, those of you living like a dog on a hill, WrestleMania is 11 nights away. It's Sunday, April 8th or 7th, whichever comes first. Whichever the first Sunday in, is it the 8th? No, it's the 7th.
I believe
it's the 7th. Yeah, so it's Sunday, April 7th from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, where the Jets and the Giants play. Matt and I will be there along with 4 of our pals. Very excited to go, and it turns out this is going to be a historic WrestleMania because this is the first ever WrestleMania that is going to have the women wrestlers in the actual main event. And what the main event means is it is the last match of the evening. In this case, it is also a title match because Ronda Rousey, former UFC fighter, is the Raw Women's Champion, and she will be defending her title against Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, who, as of last night, is now the SmackDown Women's Champion. Her title will not be on the line.
That's wild.
At WrestleMania. But it's kind of cool that, there's 2 women champions in the triple threat match. Because a lot of times, the main event, the main event's the most important match. And back in the day, especially with Hulk Hogan, that meant it was the WWF title match. The title match and the main event went hand in hand. As WrestleMania kept going and going. This is going to be WrestleMania 35. The main event doesn't necessarily mean it's a title match. It just means it's the most important, most popular match, that the fans want to see. And it's kind of cool that in this case, it is also a title match. And in my opinion, I think it's been earned. Like this doesn't feel like they're throwing, the woman a bone to like get positive publicity. I think it's been earned by all 3 of Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda.
I agree. I totally agree. I'm very, very excited for that match. Like that gets me more excited than a lot of the other matches on the card. like for sure. Like I'm just like they're gonna put on such a show. It's gonna be awesome.
And Joan Jett, famous rock star, is singing Ronda Rousey to the ring. She's singing "Bad Reputation" live, which is Ronda Rousey's theme song, which is going to be really cool.
That is
and
dope.
A fun little.
Is CeeLo Green
will be there. He's going to let the crowd do the singing. CeeLo, we can't hear you. For those of you who don't know or get that reference, you're missing out. Go YouTube CeeLo Green SummerSlam. Was it SummerSlam?
Yeah, it was SummerSlam.
Yep. You know, if you think CeeLo Green, this little midget singer who sings like, you know, pop funk music, man, talk about the worst choice for a live wrestling crowd. Like, you gotta get a Snoop Dogg, you get a Flow Rider, CeeLo Green. Oh,
there was no audience.
No, they were very upset. They were very upset. Poor CeeLo. I don't think he knew what was going on. He did his best.
He did the best he could.
But a cool stat for this main event. This is only the second ever. Becky Lynch is the second ever person born outside the United States and Canada to be in the WrestleMania main event. The first was awesome. Andre the Giant, who was born in France. He main evented WrestleMania 3. And since WrestleMania 3 back in 1987, there has not been a man. It's only been men, but there hasn't been a man born outside the U.S. and Canada. And now Becky Lynch, the man, is the first to do it since 1987. So that's really cool too. There's a lot of cool stuff happening in that main event. The rest of the card is going to be cool. You know, it's going to be 17 matches. We're going to be up in those seats for quite some time. But even if you're not a diehard wrestling fan, even if you don't follow the stories religiously, it's still WrestleMania. You can just watch. You can watch cold. It's just so much fun. It's just the theatrics, the crowd. It's going to be a great time.
Please, if I try to go inside the arena without a jacket, please make me take a jacket.
I think what we need to do is we need to bring our jackets that we got. But I think we're going to need a sweatshirt of some kind as well, because as nice as they are,
yes,
they don't strike me as something that's going to really resist the wind.
They're not warm. They're definitely not going to be warm.
They're good springtime jackets.
Yeah, definitely. So we definitely need something else.
But I'll make sure.
I was freezing last time.
Dude, it was so cold.
It was so cold.
I knew I was cold because I didn't even get a beer. And when we got into the stadium, I was like, I can't move from my seat. If I move, I'm going to be freezing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, there's no way.
But yeah, and what I'm thinking is I do want to reach out on Twitter to Robbie Barstool and Carabas and see if they're going to be there. Because I want to say hi, sure. Like just say hi, like, you know, love your blogs. But if they're doing any video content, I was like, they have to get us tailgating because not many people tailgate for WrestleMania.
Yeah,
but
we should invite them over to the tailgate. We should offer them some food, some beers.
So if they need real estate advice, we'll tell them to talk to Dave D.
Right, exactly. Just turn them over to Dave D. Exactly. You took the words right out of my
guys,
mouth.
We have to go.
Oh God, good stuff. Well, WrestleMania is going to be awesome. I'm very excited. Cardi B in the news. Cardi B is always in the news for something or another. This is a wild story. What did she go on when she said this? Well, you want go ahead.
Well, so a report came out that when she was a stripper, she used to like drug some of her patrons, people who would go and like ask for lap dances or whatever else she gave them, and rob them. And when the story came out, her comment was, you know, I'm not proud of the things I used to do. Not denying it, just coming out and saying like, yeah, I used to drug and rob these guys. And it's like, well, you know, good for her, I guess, for owning up and admitting it. But in a way, that's pretty trashy. That's a kind of a messed up move. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very messed up. I'm going to call out this, which is not, it doesn't need to be called out, but there's a bit of a double standard here. I think it's way more in the news if this is the opposite, like, happening.
Yes.
Like there's a guy going out there drugging women and taking their shit, like just robbing them. It's a different story.
He's in jail for a long time.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, and also I think it's not even a man-woman thing. I think it's also just like, if I had walked up to you tomorrow and I told you this story, would you be surprised that Cardi B used to do this?
That's the thing. I think she's built up this persona that can just get away with it. It's kind of like she's like a Trump. Right. She's like a female Trump in a way, where it's like he's so over the top all the time that now there's nothing you can say that I'm supposed to like react to in any meaningful way. I'm like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's
and she's so universally liked too. Like right now, everybody loves her. Loves her music.
Like I don't hate her, but I don't understand her enough to like her. I don't. I don't.
Well, I physically don't understand her. I can't understand what she's saying. I don't understand what she's saying most of the time. It's just a lot of skirts and like bird calls and shit, and I can't understand that. I do. You're right. I like her. I do like her music, but she is like universally so well liked. I think this story is just going to go right under. It's just going to get brushed right.
Yeah,
under.
It seems like it already kind of has. But when it popped up, I'm like, why aren't people upset about this? This is bad.
Yeah,
and she's also
It's just because I think this is what.
And she's trying to trademark occur.
Oh, okay.
It's not a word.
Why?
And also why? Yeah, I mean, you know why? Because she's going to sell shirts and shoes and pillows. I'm really into embroidered pillows, in case you haven't noticed. But
are you going to buy an Occur?
I probably
would.
Occur? Holly leaves me. It's just me and the pillows. I told you no more pillows. But I mean, I guess she's going to trademark it to sell merchandise. And as you said, people love her for some type of reason. And they'll probably buy her shit with Occur on it.
What was the thing that Paris Hilton copyrighted or supposedly copyrighted? It's hot or something? That's hot. That's hot. Was it? How do you copyright two words in the English language?
That don't go together. Like,
how do you like
describe? I guess you could describe.
It's not a business.
The only thing you can describe as hot is food, or like a thing, like it's a temperature.
It's hot.
No,
that's hot is what she said.
Like, that's cool.
But I don't understand how you could, and I don't know the truth. Like, that was a rumor, right? That was like a thing that was going around at the time when she was hot. But I don't know. Like, that's weird because there's copyright words. Also, like, did this like cross your path at all? The whole thing with Carlton, what's his name? Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Oh, Alfonso Ribeiro.
Yeah, so his dance from Fresh Prince was put into the game Fortnite, and he was suing Fortnite because they didn't ask his permission to put it in the game. But come to find out, like, you just can't copyright a dance. Like, it's just like and also it wasn't his. He wasn't the first one to do it. So it was like a weird like thing. But yeah, he was trying to copyright a dance. But we should try and copyright something. Dog on a hill.
I'm telling you, man, it could be something. You could do paintings of it. You could do a lot of different things.
It's like I picture it like the scene from Goodfellas. Like, I like this dog. He's just on one dog look one way, one dog looks the other way, and this guy's like, "What do you want from me?" I was thinking about that movie today. Joe Pesci gets the short end of the stick in every mobster movie. Really, honestly, I'm not going to be. I won't be surprised if he gets blown away in The Irishman.
I'm surprised he's still alive. I feel like I haven't seen him in quite some time, and he
fell out of the spotlight, but he still looks pretty good. He's bald now. Right. Yeah, he's bald now, which is weird, but he still looks pretty good for his age. I think he's like he's been kind of like just quiet, just hasn't been like coming out in the news at all.
It must be so hard to.
Who did I look up?
Like, unless. I said it must be hard to do that unless no one just ever offers you a role. But he's too talented for no one to offer him a role. Right. Like, that's just stupid.
Oh yeah, he must be turning it down, right? Oh, I looked up. Would you say right now? Would you say that Al Green is alive or dead? The singer.
No,
he's alive. Yeah, he's alive. Hold on, let me double check. Right, that's what I'm saying. Why hasn't he like been playing at like the Super Bowl halftime show?
Let's Stay Together. That's one of the best songs of all time.
I gotta look this up. Al Green.
Yeah, he's still alive, 72 years old.
Born, yeah, 72 years old. Hasn't been doing anything. Al Green, what's the deal, man? I watched Chef over the weekend, and I Don't Want to Be Alone. Is that the name of the song? Tired to Be Alone. I'm so tired of being alone. It's a great song. But there you go. The scene with he's at like the farmer's market, and he's like just about ready to like, he's like done with being a chef at that restaurant, Dustin Hoffman's restaurant. And the little skeleton marionette puppet is dancing and singing that song. And he's just standing there like watching it. It is a genius, like amazing scene. Like Jon Favreau is such an underrated director, and that movie is so good. I could watch that 100 times.
It's amazing, and I love like the time he took to like put into looking like an actual chef. Like he studied with all the chefs and all that stuff. I love that movie too.
Yeah, but imagine like you're Jon Favreau. Your next idea, you had this great, and he's had this idea for a long time. He wants to be a chef, right? This is the movie. He's in a restaurant. He wants to do, you take some time. You're the director. You're also the star of the show. Your wife is Sofia Vergara. Like, come on. Like that's very nice. And then also like on the side, you're like, that's your ex-wife who you end up getting married to in the end. Sorry, spoilers, everybody. And then you're also dating Scarlett Johansson on the side. And then you just like, hey, research for this role. I'm gonna go learn with like world famous chefs on how to cook. That's nice. Not
a bad life.
That's really nice. No, not a bad life at all.
So Al Green actually he came out with his last studio album in 2008. That's I wouldn't have guessed that. He did have a
no. See,
a lot of albums. Wow. First one was in 1967. He actually, 72. Oh, good for him.
I've been listening to his greatest hits in the car. He's very good.
He's excellent.
A lot of good songs. Yeah. Yes. Ryan, what have you been watching?
Kind of a little bit more of the same of last week. Still on the Game of Thrones rewatch. Just watched Hard Home. Season 5 with the Walkers, White Walkers. So trying our best. I mean, we got to do some damage this weekend, especially since I won't be here next weekend. But I think we can get through 6 and 7 in the next 2 weeks. So I've been doing that. Walking Dead, another really, really good episode, I thought, on Sunday. There's only the finale is this coming Sunday. They've been doing a great job, I think, with the new villains who are the Whisperers. And they introduced him well. The Alpha is the head of the Whisperers, and she's a very frightening in very subtle ways as a villain. I just think they've been doing a good job. I've really liked it. It's not, you're never going to get back to their heyday because you just had like so many secondary characters you cared about, like a Shane or a Dale or a Herschel, with the main people like Rick and obviously Michonne wasn't around at the beginning, but Rick and Glenn and Maggie. So you don't have those secondary characters like they used to, but I think it's much, much better than it was.
I definitely agree. I was so out on The Walking Dead, and now that I'm kind of catching up on the second half of this season, I like love it. Like it's been as good as it could be as far as back as I can remember. Like, for recent seasons, it's the best it's been.
I agree. So for those of you who gave up on it, give it another try. It's good. And the finale is Sunday. So even if you don't catch it, you can binge it sometime this spring and summer. Broad City coming to an end. Its final episode is tomorrow. Holly and I, it's on Hulu. So I've been rewatching it. It's so funny. It's just so good. Abby and Alana, love them. I love their YouTube series. I was so happy that they got like a Comedy Central show, and they just killed it the whole time. I've been rewatching that on Hulu, and I started the Flat Earth documentary today. It is.
How far?
I'm still on Mark Sargent, the guy.
Mark Sargent. Well, Mark Sargent is the person of this documentary.
Now, one of the claims he makes is that the Earth is spinning at 60,000 miles an hour. around the sun. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is moving very fast. I don't know what the exact speed. Let me see. How fast? They do have a lot of their facts in order as far as like what people say is happening.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that the
How
Earth's flat.
fast
I
is
just
the
don't.
Earth around the sun? 67,000 miles per hour. Yeah, around the sun. It's fast. It's very fast. Yeah. That gives you perspective. It takes a year for us to get around the sun. At 67,000 miles per hour, it takes 365 days for us to do a lap.
That's nuts.
It's crazy. That's how big.
And the thing is, like, they they make it off to be this type of conspiracy, but like, who's profiting off? Like, yeah, maybe the people who created globe figurines, but I mean, it's just science. Like, it's telling you a fact. Like,
it's science. Yeah, and it's like
this piece of wood is brown. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Looks green to me. Well, all right. I mean, you're just an idiot then.
Did you hear the therapist? Not a therapist. Maybe it was a therapist. There's somebody in the documentary that's talking about why like people would think the Earth is flat. Did you hear that person?
No, because I'm only like 10 minutes in. I'm gonna finish it tonight.
Okay, all right. Then I'll let you watch it. But they talk about they speculate at why some people would be drawn to easily believe something like this. Like not necessarily this in general, this specifically, but like just conspiracy theories in general. Why some people are more susceptible to it. It's interesting what they say, but it's great documentary. This is the type of stuff like usually like, HBO is the gold standard for documentaries, but I love when Netflix puts out these little ones here and there. They're so good. Like this and Abducted in Plain Sight like was amazing for different reasons, but like just crazy. I like it, but it's very, very good. So I watched that last
Netflix
week.
does have great documentaries, but yeah, so I'm going to finish that, and then that's pretty much it. Been watching a lot of wrestling, but what about you? What have you been watching?
Did I tell you last week about the Donkey Kong documentary?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Oh my God, Ryan. So I watched this documentary I actually think I had to rent it on iTunes. It's called King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters. Are you familiar with the name at all? Okay. So do you know anything about it, or you just know the name?
I've seen it on something, on one of the streaming services.
It is. Oh, you gotta, if you can watch it on one of the streaming services, watch it. It's about when arcades first were big in America in the early 80s. The main games like Centipede and Donkey Kong and Asteroids and Pac-Man and all those games, right? There were certain kids in America that were like top score of all these different machines. And how they figured out that like across America, all these machines were being used by different kids, and they needed to figure out who was the best. Like, sure, this machine in Michigan has a score of 1 million, but this machine in San Francisco has a score of 1,200,000. Like, that one's higher, but how can you like get a centralized database? So this guy created this company called Twin Galaxies. Twin Galaxies right now still to this day is the it's the one-stop shop, like it's the Bible of video game records. Like even to this day, it's recognized by the Guinness Book. When the Guinness Book needs to add in their books sections about video games, they take the records from this website, Twin Galaxies. So the documentary takes place in 2005, where it's just like it's an inside look at like competitive arcade game playing and like who has the high scores. And I mean, man, it's crazy. There's villains. There's like the nice guy, like the hero, like the upcoming hero. There's this guy, Billy Mitchell. He's the biggest villain you'll ever meet in any documentary ever. It's amazing. I highly, highly recommend it. There's backstabbing, there's drama. It's like not what you would expect from a bunch of like arcade video game nerd guys.
I'll have to check it out then. Because that title sounds so familiar, so I'll have to go back and look and see where exactly I saw it.
It is fantastic, and they're working on a sequel because last year there was like a new development in some of the scores. Like some of the scores that people said they had weren't legitimate. And so like now there's a whole scandal and people are getting banned for life from competing in these arcade video game tournaments and stuff. It's Ryan, it's crazy. So that's that. It's very good. Check that out. I also watched because I had hand surgery last Wednesday. I did my other hand a couple times. It's going well. It's going well. This hand wasn't nearly as bad as the other hand, so it's like it's already pretty well healed, but I can't really I don't have any grip strength in it yet. So last week when I had it done, the couple of days I was home, I iced it and I watched so many movies. So I watched a bunch of movies I hadn't seen. I watched what were some of the ones I watched? This movie Winchester, the horror movie with the Helen Mirren. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. And I also went back and watched one of the Star Treks with Chris Pine, the third one that I hadn't seen. I also went back and watched a bunch of movies that I've seen a million times, like Chef and the Ghostbusters from 2016 with Kristen Wiig and.
Was that good? Was that good? I never saw that.
I like it. A lot of people give it shit. There's really no reason to. It's a very funny. It's everybody gets upset. It's oh, it's not my Ghostbusters. That's not the Ghostbusters.
Get those girls off the TV.
Get these women off the TV. It's hilarious. Leslie Jones is so funny. It was dead in the water though because people were so against. And also Paul Feig was the director. Paul Feig is a fucking genius comedy director. Just
right. Let
go
him
with it,
thing.
please. One of the undercover funny parts of that movie is the mayor. It's Andy Garcia is the mayor of New York. He is hilarious. Oh my god, he's so funny. You have to go his oh no, who is the girl? Oh my god, the woman from SNL.
Kate McKinnon?
No, not Kate McKinnon. It's another it's not Kate McKinnon.
From the current?
Cecily Strong. Cecily Strong. She's the mayor's handler. And so she kind of is his assistant. Oh, it's so funny. So she's the smart one. She handles everything, and the mayor just is an idiot. Andy Garcia. It's so good. It's so funny. Watch it. I do recommend it. I think it's on a streaming service. I think that's where I watched it.
We'll have to add it to the list
somewhere. Yeah. So I watched a bunch of movies, and that was about it. But that documentary, man, King of Kong, Fistful of
Dollars. Right, I'm gonna go searching tonight, so that way I can plan it out.
Okay. Yeah, tag it. Yeah, tag it and just put it aside. I think it's an hour and 45 minutes. Totally 100% worth it. I also watched. Oh, sorry, I'm just keep adding to this list. I also watched Fahrenheit 11/9.
I heard that was very good.
Very good. I like Michael Moore documentaries because it does what a good documentary should do. It kind of leaves you. It presents the facts, and it leaves you right in the middle. It doesn't make you want to sway any which way. It just puts you right in the middle. And it just lets you ingest everything and you can develop your own opinions. He does that very well. I think he's done this in this movie the best he's ever done it in his career. And there's a lot of personal things that are attached to this. He's from Flint, Michigan, and one of the big parts of this documentary is about the Flint, Michigan water crisis. And there's some wild stuff about that I won't get into now because I'll just talk about it forever. But great documentary by Michael Moore. Big fan of his. And
actually, speaking of Flint, Netflix has a episodic documentary out called Flint Town, and it follows the police staff of Flint, Michigan. It's pretty well. It's very good, but it's very scary. Just how understaffed they are with crime and then the water crisis and then the race, there's a huge racial divide in the city. It's absolutely insane. But it's so well done.
Yeah. Picture this city, Flint, Michigan, has this huge water problem, has these people that have been living there forever. It's not an affluent area of the country. So if you say like, well, people from the outside will be like, well, why don't you just leave? It's like, well, think about this. You own property in Flint, Michigan. Who's going to want to buy your property in Flint, Michigan? So that means you'd have to move and just abandon something that you have all this equity in. Like, what money are you going to use to move? Like, you can't possibly do it. And it's sad. Like, these people are stuck, and politicians are coming in there and telling them, no, by our guidelines, like, it is safe to drink because the FDA or whatever allows a certain amount of lead in the water, which is ridiculous. And like, the amount is a lot. And like, they caught people lying about the tests and everything. It is wild. And you won't believe who's connected to like this whole thing. And like, the governor of Michigan is just a big giant asshole that I didn't even really know about.
I'll have to watch that.
So yeah,
11/9.
It is depressing, but check it out. It is, you would like it. You would definitely like it for sure. They do the Flint, Michigan, water crisis. They covered the 2016 election, which is covered very well and from both sides. What else do they talk about? They talk about, there's a lot of gun control issues brought up and the Parkland shooting and all that.
Let's check it out. You've given me and everyone else some very good suggestions moving forward, Matt. Appreciate that.
Hey, when you're a dog on a hill, this is the least I can do.
This is your life as a dog on the hill.
This is my life. Well, I think that's going to do it for the Average Nobody's podcast for this week.
Anything else I think that's it. I've said my piece. I'll never speak again.
Remember, everybody, motorcycles are everywhere. Just take that, which however you way you think I mean it. That's just take. There's no wrong way to take it. Be scared of motorcycles. Be aware of motorcycles. I don't know. That's how I feel. So until the next one, we're going to leave you with that. Average Nobody's podcast number 72 from March 27th, 2019. Check us out on Apple, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, our blog, averagenobodies.com, Twitter at Average Nobodies, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/theaverage.
Matt, it's been a pleasure.
Always, right? It's always a pleasure. I hope that pigeon reached your
house. You know, it's quite
okay.
Dark. If it's up there, I just can't see it. So next time, send.
I've gone through a lot of pigeons.
Yeah, I'm not going to, I didn't want to say anything earlier, but it's not the best way to communicate. But you know what? Keep trying. It'll work.
Well, Jon Snow says otherwise. So, I guess those are ravens. Those are not pigeons. Okay.
The ravens of the sea.
I thought you're right. Yes.
I
think those are seagulls.
You know what? They are.
Maybe we should try. Maybe we should. Okay.
All right.
I'll talk to you later. Bye. Maybe we should try.